Greetings, our Frederick Riddle here with another episode of Christian News and Views. This is episode 26, 110. I'm entitling this Russia's Grand Failure, although you could easily call it Ukraine's Grand Success. I just got done watching a video that breaks it all down, and I was hoping to be able to share that video with you, but that's not that doesn't look like it's something I would be able to do. Um, but so what I did is I took some notes, and I got my notes right here. Instead of typing them up and putting them on so I can read them off the screen, what I'm going to do is do something I haven't done in a long time. And that's to have a handwritten notes to read from, because I wanted to get this out to you. I think that this is interesting, if at the very least, and very well could be what it's talking about could happen within days. So, in the spring of 2026 this year, Russia launched its grand offensive plan. It was a massive offense. It was to involve the collapse of the Donbass region. Ukraine would finally crumble under Russian might. And he sent in over, I think it was 180,000 troops is what he figured he would need. That was back in the 180,000 troops. That was actually back in 22 when he launched his attack, his invasion. And so he's at this point in this year, at the beginning of this year, he was finally going to see his victory come to place. It's been delayed. It's only supposed to take 3 days, and now it's been 4 years. But it was a failure, folks. 100,000 Russian troops were destroyed. Russia is losing. Here's the Ukrainian strategy that's really changing the whole thing. What's the game changer? Well, for some time now, they have been employing drones. Well, last year, actually last June, not this June, but last June, 2025, they organized what they call Unmanned Systems Forces, or USF. And since that has happened, it's really been a game changer. Listen to this. It brought in systemization, control, and collaboration, which didn't exist before. They were just randomly sending their drones in. They weren't coordinated. There was no unity, no real unity as far as on oversight as far as strategy goes, or tactical planning goes. Since they've launched that, they have had 350,000 verified strikes. That averages out to 5,000 sorties a day. They've had 248 defense vehicles were destroyed. 817 tanks were destroyed. 1,379 armored vehicles were destroyed. 4,890 artillery systems were destroyed. 342 self-propelled artillery systems were destroyed. 13 aircraft and helicopters were destroyed. When I say destroyed, some of them may not be completely, they might be just badly damaged, but there's in effect, they're kind of destroyed because they're off the battlefield. 281 multiple launched rocket systems destroyed. 26,430 logistic vehicles destroyed. Get this. 100,082 were either killed or wounded. And this breaks down to this: 53,477 killed, 46,605 wounded. Now, get this in perspective. There was a study done of several wars in which the United States was involved in. In every case, There were more wounded than killed. And then the video I watched actually broke it down to a ratio, which varied from war to war. But this is a first. This is Russia, and they have more people killed than wounded. That's catastrophic. So the Ukraine has a goal for 2026. Now they passed their first year of the USF being in effect. So with the year ahead going, they want to double that. So instead of 100,000, they want to kill or wound 200,000. Russia is actively losing ground. Russia attacks on civilian population, which you've been reading about and hearing about, is not a sign of strength, which some may be reporting it as that way, but it's not. Actually, it is more like a last gasp of the offense that has already crumbled. The spring and summer offense is already over. It's like I said, it's crumbling. And everybody in Russia, except one person, knows and is aware of this. And that one person is Putin. Now, personally, I think he knows about it. He just doesn't want to believe it. He's got in the video it says he's got his head buried in the sand. That's very well put. Ukraine's strategies are this: hitting Russia with drones without coordination. Coordination has evolved into a strategy Russia can't handle. Now it's got coordination. Now it's got the other, all the different aspects that needs a systematic campaign. Ukraine can now, let's see. Oh, it's now the world's leader in military drone technology. That's part of their strategy too. They can do what I think it said 4 million drones per year are built, and they want to increase that. I believe it's to 7 million. It inflicted 80% of battlefield casualties. Now, get this, folks. The casualties I've been reading about and everything were from the USF. But there are other divisions, military divisions, which are also killing Russians. And so the numbers of Russians being killed are higher than the 100,000. That 100,000 is strictly from the drone attacks. Kill zones. These have been expanded from 10 to 20 and 20 miles kilometers, which was pretty effective in itself. What it did was it not only attacked the battlefront right here, but it would also go behind the battlefield, and it made it very, very dangerous for troops to even move into position. So before they ever got into position, they were being destroyed. That was very, very effective. But that's been expanded, folks. Now it's over up to 100 kilometers, and they can reach into the. Let's see what I have here. They reach into occupied territories and into Russia itself, bringing the war, as I've reported before, it brings the war home to the Russian people. So it's been this is a war that is really changing rapidly, and Ukraine is at the head of that. Russia's on the losing end. The report goes on into showing that Ukraine is pointing ahead not only in drone technology, but in intelligence gathering. Now, the United States provides some of that, maybe most of that. I think some of the other European countries may be providing that. But I also think that the Ukrainians are now beginning to have their own. But however it is, they are taking that intelligence and they can see what the Russians are doing. And instead of it going down to a central command and then going out to the troops, they can send it right directly to the troops. So the soldier on the ground can look at his phone and see what's going on in front of him, even though his eyes don't see it out there. It's here on his phone. So he knows what he has to do, and he can do it. The time frame is so fast that the Russians just have no response to that. So what does this all mean, folks? Well, and Like I said, Putin's the only one that doesn't seem to be aware of this. I believe he is aware of it. But what I also believe is that like I said, his head's buried in the sand. He doesn't want to know, folks. He's put a blindfold on because he doesn't want to see what's out there. He wants, and he dreams in his mind what he wants to be. He wants to be the one who brought back the Russian Empire. And he's seeing that empire go up in flames right before his eyes. So that's why he wants to put a blindfold on. That's why he wants to bury his head in the sand. He also he is so powerful that the generals are afraid to tell him the truth. Because when they do, they might bear some of his anger. And so how much of it actually gets to him, I don't know. But there's enough going on. And he's an intelligent person, but he's a little bit off balanced. Is this vision that he has so snared his mind, captured him, that he is almost unable to change course. What would a change course involve? Well, he's got to get a peace agreement in place. He's bluffing now. He has nothing left. He has a nuclear, but that would simply not only kill himself, but it would wipe out the whatever dreams he thinks still has of Russia being an empire would be gone in a flash. Not only would the United States respond, but European allies they don't even need the United States. They can do it themselves. And it would be fast, furious, and total. And so nuclear warfare, he can use it for a bluff, but in the end, he knows he can't ever use that, not if he intends to survive. So what does he have? The only thing he can do is try to get the best agreement he can do. This is one of the reasons why he's making these massive drone attacks against Kiev and some other select areas. Overall, the Ukrainians are sending more drones into Russia than he's sending into Ukraine. But he's grouping them together in a mass attack. And that is because, like I said, it's not a sign of strength. It's a last gasp. It's like I used to play chess against my mother. I didn't win. But what I would do was because I saw that I was going to lose, okay, I'm going to go down fighting. I'm going to take every one of her players I could. But in the end, I lost. And it was just a last gasp. I'm going to go down fighting. Well, that works chess, and just when the game's over, it's over. But you do it in war, it's much more final than it. And so it's the last gasp, folks. And it's his dreams are crumbling around him. I don't know how much longer he can last. I mean, there are people who are in the government now, in people who support him. He used to support him strongly, who are turning against him. This video I watched got into that a little bit of showing how different leaders. One man who was being groomed to take over the Ukraine once Russia won the war, he's now turned against Putin, and others have too. And they're becoming a little bit more public about it, which indicates less fear. The more they sense his vulnerability, the more willing they are to speak out. And some of the people who are speaking out, or at least taking action that is less than supportive, are strong supporters that he needs. Without them, he's his own little private vessel, yacht, if you will, is going to sink. It may have already sprung some leaks. So I wanted to share that with you today, because I just believe that that video was really, I mean, I've seen some good stuff, but that really put this drone technology, which we've been seeing and reporting on, that it was making a change. But now we have seen how big a change it is and how the Ukraine is just not only ahead of Russia in drone technology, but pulling away from them not only in technology, but in the uh, manufacture of them, going from 4 million a year to 7 million a year. And so the war isn't over yet, but it's beginning to look more and more like it's just around the corner. And how Putin's going to bring that about, I don't know that he can. I think it's going to be a coup, maybe, of some sort. He's turning too many people against him, and he's losing friends. And a man in his position needs as many friends as he can get, especially powerful friends. I could actually picture him ordering somebody to take out the opposition, and he doesn't know that the guy he's talking to is part of the opposition. Uh, and so, if he ever does that, he could find himself in some big trouble. Uh, I think he's on life support, and so I thought hopefully I've given you some information that has been informative, uh, maybe even inspiring of some sort. I always try to do that to you to inspire you, to encourage you, and to simply inform you. This podcast, as with all my podcasts, sponsored by TNR Independent Books, a Christian indie publisher. If you're a Christian and you believe God wants you to be a published author, but you don't know how to write yet, you can write, but you don't know how to write stories. Well, we have a writing course called Basic Authors Training, BAT. And that it comes that you go into trbookservices.com/shop. That takes you right to our bookstore. And in the bookstore, you go to the writing department, and there you'll have basic authors training for groups. Both of them are to give you access to the writing course. You fill out the application. It doesn't cost you any money to fill out an application. Send it on to me. I'll look it over. If I approve it, I'll send a letter back to you with links to to check out where you pay for, and you will get a coupon of significant value, underlying significant. And then, perhaps you know how to write, but you just simply need a publisher. Well, we're interested in you. So we have what's called ministry publishing. Go there. Again, trbookservices.com/shop. Go to the writing department, and in there you'll find ministry publishing. And again, click on there, fill out the application. It costs you no money to do that. Send it to me. Look it over. If I approve, I'll send you back a letter congratulating you with links for you to pay. And again, a coupon of significant value. And then you can get your career started. Well, I hope this has been interesting to you, informative, and I hope to see you in the next video.